Well, after a fun-filled and suspenseful season, we now officially have a winner for the Snake Season 1, and I'm so excited to be joined by the winner of $100,000 and the Snake Champion, our favorite makeup artist, Frankie!
Ah, thank you. What a warm introduction. I love this. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, it is my pleasure, and I wore my sequins just for you because I know you have a flair for great clothes, my friend.
Like, if you see me in it, consider it bitten off you
Oh,
because I
you are
love
so
that
sweet.
jacket.
Well, thank you so much. All right, let's get to it. I want to say congratulations, but also all of your other competitors, I've kind of asked, similar questions because I wanted to know their strategy. I feel
Yeah.
watching you, you're one of the few players whose strategy stayed consistent the
Mhm.
entire game. So tell me, what was your strategy going in, and do you think it ever changed as you were, playing the competitions and meeting these people and building relationships? Do you feel it stayed pretty consistent also?
I mean, I do feel like it stayed consistent. You lean into when you know something works, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So when you're trying to win people over and be persuasive, think to yourself, what's somebody that's constant in people's lives? They're more likely to change their doctor than they are their hairdresser. So I am leaning in on the skill set that I have of makeup, the styling, and all that. Um, because where do you get the best gossip? Always at the beauty salon. Duh.
Oh, you make a very valid point. I used to go to the hairdresser with my grandmother every Saturday, and they
Right.
would spill the tea. So going in, did you feel like it was going to be a competition-based show, or were you relying on relationships for the competition? Because I feel at some point it's more of that building the bonds between the contestants versus actual the competitions.
Yeah, it was a very unique kind of a dynamic in that house, I gotta tell you, because both did play a role. It was very important for you to have relationships because you never knew who was going to be in power based on the competition. So as much as I'd like to admit not like one outweighed the other, I think they both work in tandem. I think it goes based off of the player, of what they choose to lean on based on their skill set. And because I know maybe my muscles aren't in my biceps, but they might be in my head. So that's kind of like you lean on what you got cooking.
What are
Yeah.
your relationships with them today? Can you forgive them? Are there any hard feelings? How do you stand with the cast now?
We do tend to we have a group chat. So there's definitely constant camaraderie, congratulations, happiness and things. We all kind of have our people that we're a little closer to more regularly, I'd say. I think it'd be naive to omit that fact. And I think it's pretty clear that my more frequent communication is with Alyssa and John.
We saw in this final episode, you're building
Uh,
that freight to become the final two, and
yeah,
you hurt yourself. How
yeah.
difficult was it to overcome that and get, I mean, you won, and it looks like you were handily winning.
I tell you what, I think I had a full blown psychotic break. It was like cortisol levels at 1,000. It's 15 million degrees outside. And at that moment, even when John gave me all of his medallions, and even when like Alyssa won, she got the dinner party challenge because she picked the best lighting. God, I love her. Like she's the best. She's one of the best people on the planet. That's why she picked a seat because the lighting was the best there, and she's hilarious. She won one, and then he won one, and I was like, I want to win one too. Like I had the little brat in me come out, like, I want to Oompa Loompa now. But I knew that at that moment, had I not tried, like I had to shut up, but buck up, buttercup. Worse will happen to you before you're dead. I said, okay, you can cry and complain about it later. And if you win, you can get a martini.
So during the final, all this, the former snakes reveal themselves, and you find
Yes.
out that final challenge of, hey, one person's going to get to decide the winner.
Yes.
What were you thinking, and who did you think you for sure had in your corner for, like, if you had to pick the top people, who did you know was going to vote for you?
Yeah, I knew that Catherine was a swing vote because let's call a spade a spade. She played a pretty intense game, and we kind of caught on to it towards the end. So when somebody's not predictable, they become dangerous. And in this type of an environment, when there's $100,000 on the line, we don't want as liabilities. We're looking for, you know what I'm saying. So she was in that you need to go and sit in the corner category, but the rest it could have gone either way had the first vote not been for Catherine. And Brett was trying to get Alyssa out first because she made such an obvious statement. But the first one we had to agree upon. And why in the world would I eliminate my best friend after she just said on national television, pick me to win? Hello?
Right.
Like,
I mean, it
why
was
would I do that?
very obvious that you guys are besties and that wasn't
Yeah.
going to happen, especially since you had to agree. But
Yeah.
now that you are the winner, looking back at the
Yeah.
season, how do you feel now that you're the winner, and how do you think this money and the $100,000 will change your life?
So it's I'm glad that you bring that up because it in the finale episode it does air that my primary focus is to help those living with and affected by cancer. There was a pretext to that doesn't make the cut, and that is investing that money into my business, Intrinsic Beauty, so that a percentage of the profits can be donated to families living with and affected by breast cancer specifically, so that we can help them pay for their either medical expenses or their living expenses while they're going through the treatments. Because having been exposed to that journey, I know how challenging that can be for people. So my motivator is to be able to use that money to create a machine that can then go and continue to give back versus me just taking a percentage of the money and dumping it into a foundation. I want something that can continue to give and continue to grow with me, and for others.
I think that's why people love you and your heart. I lost my grandmother to breast cancer, so I
I'm sorry.
understand what you went through, what you want to do, and I think it's so admirable. And I think what you're doing is a
Thank you.
great business strategy to help people longer than just in the short term. So I think it's brilliant, Frankie. I think you're amazing.
Thank you. I think you're amazing. That's very sweet of you to say. Thank you.
I wish you nothing
Yeah.
but the best, and I hope to see you on TV again.
Me too. Your mouth to God's ears.